What's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with my Boston Bruins franchise mode series here on NHL 17. And in this episode, we look to get this team into the playoffs. Now, after a pretty rough end to the prior episode, our playoff chances are looking, well, they're looking a little bit slim, unfortunately. For the first half of this episode, we really need certain players to step up. Now, the top line's been pretty good. Second line's been all right. I'd like a little bit more point production out of Bergeron. Vatrano's been the real disappointment. And Anton Bleed as well. I know he's a fourth liner, but I can't help but notice Zachary Senyshyn here, who we could probably have on that fourth line. He's doing very well in Providence, and we could shake up the team a little bit. But for now, we keep things the way they are, and we hope for the best. Only 49 games into the year, so we still have quite a bit of a way to go. But yeah, losing 5 straight games is not ideal at any point in the season, especially just before the All-Star break. But anyway, as we tend to do, let's sim to February 28th, just before trade deadline day. And we will see if we have to make a move. I hope we don't, because I kind of like the team the way it is right now. But if they're not getting it done, the goal is to make the playoffs for the third year in a row. And god damn it, we are going to do just that. Hopefully. Let's see what happens. So we're not too far into the sim. And we've received this trade offer, which is kind of interesting. I don't think we'll do it, because 2 first-round picks is a lot to give up, along with Hedberg, who still could end up being a decent prospect. But it's for Jeff Skinner, who, hey, maybe he'll end up being a free agent. Now, the only reason I'm tempted to do this is because he is having a pretty good year, and we could maybe somehow make this work and exchange Vatrano. Like, maybe we could do that, or we could just do the trade and then move Vatrano afterward? You know what? Like, I want Frankie on this team, but he's just not getting it done like you would kind of expect him to in real life. At this point, Skinner's a left. You know what? Okay, let's see if we can get this to work. So we know that they want somebody equivalent to Hedberg, and that they want people at the equivalent to that first. So, let's see. I don't exactly want to give up Linus Arneson. So, what if we give up this prospect, Kuokkanen, who we just signed anyway? I wouldn't mind giving him up. And then Vatrano. And then they would have wanted those 2 first. How much is Vatrano worth, I wonder? Vatrano looks like he's probably worth what that first-round pick, what those 2 first-round, or at least this next year's first-round pick is worth. So what if more than 45? Ah, shit. Okay, you know what? Screw it. We're going to try to make this work. I didn't plan on doing this at all, especially live, but we're here, and we're going to make this work. So who is your least valuable guy that you only have signed for 1 year? Vinio, potentially Ryan Murphy? I wouldn't mind it being Baddock. Would that go through clean? Next year's first-round pick, Vatrano and Kuokkanen for Jeff Skinner, and someone will just cut. Will that go through? It will not. They didn't say how far off it was, though, and that's kind of bugging me. So we're going to keep going for this. We do have a ton of second-round picks this year anyway, so giving up a first this year isn't necessarily a bad thing. If we tack on a third, that still won't go through. I think we're getting Jeff Skinner. I've just kind of made my mind up. We have the assets to use. I'm going to bank on us making the playoffs. How about Kuokkanen and Vatrano, our first next year and our second this year? And again, I'm not opposed to giving up our picks because I expect us to make the playoffs. For Jeff Skinner. That went through. Did we give up too much? Maybe. But Vatrano was gone. Something I definitely didn't plan on doing. And Jeff Skinner is in. I really didn't plan on doing that, guys. Like, really, I did not plan on doing that, but they came to us with the offer. We kind of tweak it a little bit. We hold on to Hedberg. We hold on to an extra first. We gave up a second and a first, along with Vetrano and Kuokkanen, which I'm a bit more happy to keep Hedberg than Kuokkanen. I don't know. Low top six, you just never know. So now the question is, what do we do with our best lines? Now, before it would put Bergeron on the first line with best lines. Now it's Skinner, Turris, Pasternak, Marchand, Krejci, Stromwall, Bergeron, DeBrusk, Zarnik. That's actually not that bad. Why is Baddock in? It should be Zachary Senyshyn. And now this team is looking somewhat interesting. Yes, Danton Heinen is currently injured. That really gives this team a different look. And we will see just how we do. Let's get back into the sim. Jeff Skinner is a Boston Bruin. Now, despite saying I really wanted him to step up, I didn't plan on trading away Anton Blidh. But Zachary Senyshyn is playing very, very well and has forced my hand. So Anton Blidh, we're going to try to trade him for Dmitry Sokolov, who is not too bad of a prospect, despite being a 7th round pick. We don't know what he will become. A 4th round pick, I believe, was a little bit too high for them. So let's try to just tack on. How about next year's 5th and 6th? Because we always get way too many picks this year. That won't go through. Can we just get the 5th to go through? And we can. So Anton Blidh is off to Minnesota. I didn't make the mistake of trading him within the Eastern Conference. Also, Baddock, or whatever the hell his name is, was claimed on waivers when we sent him down. I am not sure where. I will check in a minute. Once we get these best lines set up, we're going to keep these lines pretty much the same. We'll just move Heinen over here. Patrice Bergeron's on the 3rd line right now with DeBrusk and Zarnik. That is ridiculous. But again, this team is looking pretty interesting. The only thing you could argue is maybe a better defense. But I'm all right with Linus Arneson being there because he still has a bit of potential. Now we need to get Alex Lyon into the goalie spot here. I always want to pronounce it Lyon just because of the city in France. But yeah, that is not correct, as I have learned. Let's get Sokolov in there for Stollard, and we will see what he can do for us. But let's quickly go look, for shits and giggles, to see where Baddock ended up being claimed, or where he was claimed, or where he had been. I was going to say where he was sent to. He wasn't exactly sent anywhere. It wasn't a military deployment. But have there been any other trades? There have. At least one. Minnesota has Anders Lee in exchange for a 2nd and defenseman Josh Brook. Not too bad. But we have acquired Jeff Skinner. That is not too... That's still absolutely unreal. And Edmonton claimed Baddock. Of course they did. Peter Chiarelli. You spiteful man. We are currently in 3rd place. It is still going to be a very close race. Let's move on, though, as planned, to the 28th, and who knows if any more changes will happen. So, I know you guys have been saying this in the comment section of every video. One of these days I'm going to listen. We have more injuries. Tara Tukin is currently in for the injured. Oh, the injured Noel Acciari, but the big one, Tuukka Rask, is currently hurt, so Alex Lyon is going to have to drag this team into the playoffs. Vieni Vevalainen has been called up, and down in Providence, Marcus Russo will be the starter. This has been pretty miserable. Another fucking injury. God. Oh my God. One of these days, guys, I will get sick of editing these lineups as much as I have, and I will turn down the goddamn injuries. When that day eventually is, I do not know, but it will happen. I promise you, it will happen one of these days. Let's get Forsbach to Carlson in over here. That looks better. What I wanted to do was stop the sim and see how long Rask is going to be out for, because I didn't exactly take a good look. We have fallen to a wild card spot. Who the hell knows how this season is going to end for us? Rask is still pending evaluation. And there's no estimate. Son of a bitch. All right, well, that's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. I don't get how we're losing right now either, but the amount of offensive firepower that we have. I guess I'll move forward a day or two. I'm probably going to have to take care of scouting right here, knowing my luck. Nope, Trent Frederick will go down to a concussion. Fuck! 21 games left in the season. We are going to be without Tuukka for 3 weeks. And we are currently just barely holding on to a playoff spot. Thankfully, the Atlantic has both wild card spots. As far as making any deals, I just feel like we're in a good spot. You look at some of these point totals. Jeff Skinner having a great year, of course. Most of those points haven't been with us. Kyle Turris is over the 40-point mark. Pasta's doing well. I mean, relatively well. I mean, Jesus, I'd like to see some of these guys up near like the 60, 70-point total. DeBrusk, 18 points, not too bad considering his overall, and he is getting better defensively. I don't see what changes we could make that would really benefit us, aside from maybe defensively. But we have players that have value. I mean, Joe Morrow could be our third pairing guy for quite a while. The only issue right now is that Grzelcyk and Carlo aren't playing that well together. So I just don't know what we can do. And of course, in the AHL, things are looking good. Next year, Cholowski and McAvoy will both probably be good enough to make the team, so maybe we'll end up trading Morrow and Arneson. I mean, who knows what that defense is going to be. So you could argue, like, oh, okay, well maybe, and now that I think about it, maybe we could package one or two of these defensemen together, get another elite defenseman, and just call up Cholowski or Charlie McAvoy. Which, I mean, let's take a look, I guess, at some of our defensive players' values. I mean, we could even throw some forwards in there, some prospects to try and make this happen. I mean, Morrow, not that valuable. Arneson, not that valuable. I mean, maybe. It's funny that Cholowski at high top 6 has better potential or better value than a low elite Charlie McAvoy. We might be able to make something work. I mean, especially too with the draft picks. So you know what? Give me a second. Now that I think about it, I think I just talked myself into potentially making another trade. And the big trade is non-existent. Simply put, we're not in a good spot. Like, we could get a slight improvement on Joe Morrow and Arneson. It's just not worth it. As far as getting like that elite defenseman, I think it's going to be a better call to just sit here and sit back and wait for Cholowski, McAvoy, Zabora, Libor Hayek. And look at that. All of those guys, those 6 guys right there alone should make the NHL level. And eventually, hopefully, maybe even Ralph Jarrett and Riley Stillman end up making it. Obviously, we can't put them into the lineup right now. So what we are going to do is sim to the end of the season. We have 21 games left. If it's interesting, we'll stop at the 1st of April. And I don't know, guys. We have a lot of games. We could make it. We could miss out. It's going to come down to this final stretch. So let's see what happens. April 1st has arrived, and we technically have a losing record. 38-29-10. The Providence Bruins have made the playoffs. Injuries have continued to be a factor, as you see the last month. A lot of losses in there. As it stands right now, we are in the playoffs. As long as we can hold on to that last wildcard spot, we're good. Unfortunately, though, we're not going to storm our way into the postseason like I was hoping that we were. Everybody else in the Atlantic Division right now that's looking like they're going to make the playoffs have clinched that spot. And once again, Montreal and Ottawa are toward the top of the division. So looking at the Metro, the good news is that the Washington Capitals right now on 80 points are on the outside looking in. It would take, and Jesus, I don't want to say this. I don't, because it could happen. It would take a hell of a collapse on our part to miss out on the playoffs here. But like I said, injuries have played a major factor. They're playing a pretty big factor right now. The one thing we are kind of lacking is NHL-ready depth. So Oscar Steen and Tara Tukin are in the lineup right now on the fourth line with Danton Heinen. Will actually switch them around. And Charlie McAvoy has been called up for Carlo. So yeah, those injuries really are catching up. Krejci and Senyshyn are the two injured. That's why Tara Tukin and Steen are there. But anyway, let's get down to this. Can we make the playoffs? Can we at least catch Tampa to hopefully get a somewhat easier matchup? As it stands right now, it would not be too easy. So we will start Lyon. I'm sorry. Alex Lyon. It sounds weird. Wasn't that the name of it's the name of Ben Stiller's character from the movie Madagascar, isn't it? I'm calling him Ben Stiller from now on. Ben Stiller's our backup goalie. Senyshyn will be ready, hopefully, to play the Sabres. And we have officially qualified for the playoffs. Can you believe it? Do you believe in miracles? All right, well, that's a big sigh of relief. Now, the problem is we're going to have to put Carlo into the lineup manually, and Ben Stiller is in the lineup. So we're going to have to, actually here, we'll do it this way. Hopefully it'll be a little bit easier. We will put Carlo in for McAvoy. I didn't, fucking God. Let me do that again. Let me do it. It's so much fun to do it the first time. Let's do it a second time. We'll send McAvoy down, go best lines in Providence, and I'm probably going to have to put Lyon back in to the lineup. McAvoy, he'll be an NHLer full-time next year, but for now, you go back down to the Wannabes Menu Simulator 2017. Isn't it fun? Ben Stiller, between the pipes, his last game of the year, most likely. Of course, again, I don't want to jinx anything, but the less Rask has to play, the better. It will probably be Tuukka's last game of the year here against Tampa. We are in a dogfight for a slightly better chance in the first round. We're in an absolute dogfight. David Krejci will be fully healthy, so we'll go best lines here. We'll send down Tara Tukin and Oscar Steen, and Senyshyn, we will just have to hope will not get injured again. So, best lines. Everything is taken care of. Rask, I'm going to sit. We will go with Lyon moving forward. And we will see if Mr. Stiller can get us a better playoff spot. Actually, he just started, too. I was supposed to play Rask against Tampa, but you know what? Lyon will get the last 3 games. We're in the playoffs. We don't want to risk Rask. I'm surprised I said that without stuttering. And Lyon actually shut out the Tampa Bay Lightning. Can he beat the Panthers? He beat the Panthers. Can he beat Montreal? He cannot. Jesus, Montreal finished with 54 wins. Did we finish ahead of the Lightning, though? Alex Lyon there. Indeed, Lyon. Hell of a job done by him. Unless Tampa still has a game to play, they do not. That seals it in the first round. And you know what? I'm content with that. It was Montreal or Pittsburgh, and because of Mr. Ben Stiller, we will play the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round. Now, we played them in Season 1, and it went very well, but we still have to play a 52-win team in the first round. Good God. We'll take a look at the Penguins, of course, during next episode. Really quickly, though, we'll look at player stats after. I want to look at team stats very quickly. So we finished 2 points ahead of Tampa. We finished, and I want to look league-wide here. First of all, who finished in last? The Florida Panthers did. Okay, so that obviously helped with our division being a little bit weak. I wanted to look at goals for per game, and we're up there. That's not too bad. Goals against per game also isn't too bad. I'm just shocked that we didn't do better. Our power play is in the middle. What's our penalty kill looking like? Our penalty kill is in the middle. I can't believe we had to sneak into the playoffs. On paper, we're not the type of team that should have been struggling. I really feel like we should have just breezed our way into the playoffs. Of course, you will notice a lot of players don't have the full 82 games. David Krejci finished with 59 points in 78 games. Not too bad from him. Obviously, it would have broken 60. Kyle Turris, 56 and 82. Probably better than what Calgary would have gotten from David Backes. And indeed, David Backes only 32 points. So that worked out pretty well for us. Bergeron, 41 points in 79 games. He spent time as the first, second, and third line center this year. Very disappointing from him. Heinen and Chari both finished with 19 points. Oskar Steen and Tara Tukkin both put a couple of points on the board. Left wings, Jeff Skinner finished with 58 points. I don't remember how many points he had before coming here. Marchand, 55 in all 82 games. And Jake DeBrusk played every game this year. Didn't get to 30 points. That is pretty disappointing. Didn't improve either. David Pastrnak, 64 points. Stromwall, 52. Not too bad. Zarnik, 28 and 12 points in 35 games for Zachary Senyshyn. Not too bad at all. Defensively, Dougie Hamilton, 57 points. Grzelcyk with 43. Krug, 23. Joe Morrow with 13. Every defenseman finished as a minus player, though. And that is obviously a big, big problem for us moving forward. Goaltending-wise, Tuukka Rask finishes with a .922 save percentage. Ben Stiller with a .910. Vev Valainen, only an .899 in 6 appearances. We need Rask to be the goaltender that we know he can be. We will quickly take a look at everyone else's stats, and then we will wrap up this episode so it doesn't go on for too long. Mark Scheifele led the league in points. He and Patrick Laine, a hell of a combo. And Alex Galchenyuk, 93 overall with 95 points. Mitch Marner doing very well for the Maple Leafs. Overall, no really surprising names aside from Joshua Ho-Sang, 71 points in 82 games. He must be on a line with Tavares. Has to be. Rookie skaters. Ho-Sang may very well win it. Daniel Sprong not too far back. Clayton Keller and Jordan Kiru, I believe it is. A little bit far off. Goaltending, though, there was somebody who was in the running. Actually, quite a few rookie goalies had quite a few games. Eric Comrie, Connor Hart, John Gillies, and then probably Connor Ingram is a little bit further down. But there is a decent chance that Eric Comrie could fight for the Calder. If I had to guess, I would say it's going to be Joshua Ho-Sang, but we will find out whenever the playoffs wrap up. The playoffs begin in the next episode. You've seen the point totals. Let me know what you think we should do for line combinations. Of course, we do have some injuries to deal with. I don't know what to expect. I really don't. Columbus, New York, Pittsburgh, Boston, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and Tampa. We're at least out of the Atlantic Division bracket, so to speak. I believe we'd face off against Columbus or New York in the next round, so maybe a slightly easier route than what the Lightning are going to have to deal with. But who knows, maybe we'll get our asses kicked and get eliminated in the first round. I'm going to stop rambling so we can get to the end of this episode, because that means technically, somehow, someway, we would be closer to the next one where we will have all of our questions answered. I will see you guys then. Of course, if you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button to help support the channel. And as I've discovered recently, despite being a smaller channel, I'm still apparently susceptible to the sub glitch where people can just magically become unsubscribed from me. So, and I'm just going to suggest it. I'm not going to say absolutely do it, because I really don't do it myself, just because I'm not too great with checking my email. But of course, you can hit the little bell icon and get an alert, I believe, every time I put up a video. Or you can just remember to come back and check my channel almost every day. I do aim for those daily. I'm rambling. You guys know how to find my content. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys. We have made the playoffs. I'll see you guys in the next episode is what I'm saying. We've made the playoffs for the third year in a row. Can we get out of the first round this time, though, is the question. We'll find out next time, and I will see you guys then.